Hi, everybody. This is Lowell again with a thought regarding creativity with music, and this session is going to be about what you're going to do after you've already created your work, and you've gathered your people, the players, the performers that you want to be involved in the production of the music, and uh, basically rehearsing the music. So you've created everything. You've got your ideas down. You've created your charts. You've gathered the people, and so now it's time for rehearsal of the work. I know that it's popular these days to create music based upon the use of digital audio workstation, where you have one person in a room that creates, or maybe you might collaborate with one other person. Um, Online or something like that. But uh, it's really a lot of fun, and I encourage those of you who are endeavoring to step out in your musical creativity to work with larger groups of people. It really makes the process more challenging, but it also makes it more rewarding when you are gathering a group of people to work together with those ideas. So what I've experienced in my work as a composer and working with a number of various groups is that whenever I set forth, that first rehearsal, it's the first rehearsal is always a mess. It's always terrible, and so you just have to know that the people don't know, even if you've sent out recordings for them to study and listen to, and if you've given them the charts ahead of time, hey, practice this. They have their own lives, and their first priority is not to learn your music perfectly. And so when you gather everybody together, they're trying to learn what you're wanting out of the music. They're trying to learn playing with each other and listening to each other and creating ensemble. And so don't be discouraged after that first rehearsal. um, a lot of times what's really helpful is to have a recording going on during a rehearsal, and so you can go in your own free time before your next rehearsal. uh, Presumably you'll have more than one rehearsal, which is normal to have more than just one rehearsal to put a brand new work together. But after that first rehearsal, you have recorded it, and you go back and listen to it and study all the different things that went wrong, and maybe take out your score and mark where those problem places are, so that you can efficiently rehearse those sections. And a lot of times what happens is that the players will have their own thoughts, that will come back to you as the creator, as the composer. And in my experience, it's helpful to listen to those thoughts, to make alterations, and to think about what they've told you, and to put those into the score, and maybe change a few things in the score. Not massive changes. Don't try to uh, veer away from your original inspiration. As we've talked before, I'm very big on the original inspiration, about staying true to those, especially those very first original thoughts of the created work. But players have a lot of experience, and they can help you in areas that you don't have that much experience. I'm a string player, and so I know string instruments very well. But if I have a brass player or wind player or percussionist tell me something that would work better, then I'm going to try to listen to them. And even in my own area of expertise, you'd be surprised the value of integrating other people's thoughts into your works. And I think I might have talked about this before, but one of my favorite examples of a composer that did this was Duke Ellington. He would actually listen to his improvisational players during rehearsals, and he would go home and write those phrases down. And then when he was writing his next composition, he would include those things that his players had individually created into his composition. And so I think that's a beautiful example of collaborative work. So he honored his players by listening to them. But nevertheless, bringing a group together and bringing the idea that you originally had into completion requires working with people. It requires listening to other people's ideas. It requires collaborative mindset. And it really goes back to, of course, honor the original inspiration that you had, but also honor the value of each person's contribution that are helping you bring this idea into its fullest measure. I've experienced just in really enjoying what people have to add. It always adds value to the ideas that I've created. They always, and even if I'm not involved in creating the process of running a rehearsal, I've had friends who have taken, say, a string quartet, and I wasn't there. I wasn't able to be there at their rehearsals, and they would interpret what I had written in an entirely different way than what I originally. And I was very specific. It's like I want this, that, and the other. But it always really pleased me and surprised me what they would come up with. It's like, wow, I hadn't thought of that. Doing it that way. Just this little turn of phrase, this little timing here and there, this a little, like they are musicians in their own right, and they have their own creative ideas, and I've found it very enjoyable to listen to how other people surprise me with what they've come up with in their own interpretation of what I've put down. And so as a composer, I enjoy being having that collaborative mindset. And I think that a lot of composers that are trying to micromanage every little detail, that they miss out on the value of collaborative work. And I find that the collaborative mindset is very enjoyable. And I encourage you as a creator, as a composer, to be open to including other people in that process.